Yeah.
Okay, so what are required to become a pilot? What are the qualities required?
The qualities required to be a pilot are you must be very good with your studies, you have to be good in math, you have to have good eyesight, you have to have good hand-eye coordination, as in what you see and what you can do and manipulate with your hands, you can manipulate your environment. You have to have very good situational awareness, which means you know what's going on around you at all times. As in the aviation industry, you have to know what's going on with the airplane itself as a machine. You have to know what's going on with the weather. You have to know what's going on with all the other aircrafts in the airspace. You have to know what's happening with your crew and what's happening with the passengers in order to make decisions. Pilots have to be decisive, and they're continuously making decisions the entire time they're at work. From the moment I get to work, actually even before I get to work, when I find out what flight I have tomorrow or the next day, I have to start deciding and looking at factors, and then from the moment I get to work to the moment I'm done and we shut down the engines, making decisions. Because in aviation, things change every second, and our primary responsibility is to the safety of the flying public. So those are some of the qualities.
Okay, and how do you eat your meals when you're in flight?
Well, it depends what kind of airplane you fly. I'm lucky, I fly an Airbus A320, and when the French designed this airplane, they had crew comfort in mind. In the cockpit of Boeing aircrafts, you have a yoke in front of you, which is like a steering wheel that flies the airplane. So those guys, they have to eat their lunch and their dinner on their lap. Well, Airbus, thinking about the crew, they moved the yoke to the side, so now I have a single side stick to fly, and I have a tray table that opens up just like the passengers. So this table opens up, it's about this big, we do all our paperwork on it, and also I can enjoy my lunch there, or my dinner, or my snacks, while cruising along.
So, what is important when you're flying a plane? What is important to keep in mind?
Everything. Everything to do with flying the airplane and nothing to do with what's going on back home or on the ground. When you're at work, you have to be 100% focused on your work. But some of the things we keep an eye on are the aircraft systems, engine performance, pressurization, air conditioning, fuel quantity. The flight attendants, they come in every half an hour, they check on us and we check on them, find out if everybody is okay and comfortable in the back. That's inside the airplane. Outside the airplane, we have to keep an eye on the weather to make sure that the weather we're flying in is safe. Also, we have to, if our destination is Delhi, en route to Delhi, we have to constantly determine whether the weather at Delhi is still acceptable for landing. If not, if we hear there's some changes and the weather is maybe getting too windy or there might be a dust storm here, we have to start making decisions to change to another alternate airport. So those are some of the things.
And how do you navigate when you're there?
In the small airplanes that I trained in, you navigate by looking at the ground. Mostly we fly about 3,000 feet to 5,000 feet, and you follow roads and rivers, and you look at the coastline, you see the ocean, you follow the beach. But in large commercial aviation, we use what's called radio navigation. On the ground, there are radio aids that send out electronic signals that are picked up by the instruments on the aircraft. And the instruments on the aircraft are tuned by the pilots in order to follow them. So flying from, let's say, Mumbai to Delhi, there's actually a sky in the road, like the NH-8, except it doesn't exist with concrete or asphalt or anything. It exists as a single radio beam that the airplane can follow. And that's ground-based navigation. Now, for the last 20 years, we've augmented that or added to that GPS, Global Positioning Satellite Systems. So even if all the systems on the ground fail, we can still navigate the plane using the satellite system and find our way from Mumbai to Delhi. When you're up that high in the sky, you don't see the ground anymore, and most of the time you're in the clouds, so you have to depend on what we call instruments, and that's instrument flying. Good question.
So, and how do you fly the aircraft? what is it more like driving or is it really complicated?
It's taxiing the aircraft on the ground when the airplane is moving from the gate where the passengers board to the runway for takeoff. That is similar to driving. The only difference is you have to remember you have wings that go out 35 feet on each side, so you can't go through small spaces. But the flying portion of the actual flying in the sky is 100% different than anything else. It's three-dimensional. You can go up, down, left, right, forward. The only thing is you can't reverse. So it's very, very different from driving. But however, if you're good at driving and you have good hand-eye coordination, you're good at motorcycles, cars, forklifts, all sorts of equipment, that can be used in flying because, like I said, you have the skill. You have to be able to operate machines. So at the end of the day, a car is a machine and an airplane is a machine. So they have that similarity, but not much more.
How does the plane actually work? How does it tilt? How do you get it to tilt when it tilts?
Well, when it tilts, that's actually us turning. That's a bank. It banks.
Yes.
So
how do you get the weight shifted so it tilts?
well, actually, what we're doing is we're not shifting weight. We're shifting lift. The wings create lift, and in order to turn an airplane, you have to create more lift on one wing than the other. So if you're flying along straight and you want to make a right-hand turn, what you have to do is create more lift on the right wing. So when we move our control stick to the right, on the right wing, on the left wing, the aileron goes down into the airflow. Now the airflow hitting that pushes that wing up and pushes this wing down, creating more lift on the left wing than the right wing, and she turns. You also have to use the rudder pedals. We have rudder pedals also that coordinate that turn to make the turn smooth and comfortable for passengers.
Okay, thank you for using your precious time.
Oh, no problem. I enjoyed it. It's a very nice interview, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.